So what's up guys, this is another video on the same last week trades. As you can see, I'm about to show you. This was on Thursday. That is after, on my last video I taught you guys how I was able to get these trades, hit take profits on my previous video. So this is now a new video on how I was able to get another setup in the same bias. Like I told you, once I confirm my own directional bias, let's say my bias for the week was bullish, let's say the market was bullish, that week I intend to be buying, I intend to be looking for only buy setup. I'm not saying that the market cannot just push up to the upside like that. It must create highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. That's what makes up the market, the uptrend, the downtrend, and the origin markets. So now, like I told you guys, on this part of the video, I was able to catch another trade on USD JPY. So after I caught this previous trade, this was how I was able to see another setup around this particular area. So I push down to the 5 minutes. Let's say I go down to the 5 minutes. Now, remember I told you guys on the previous video, structure was very important. This was the last high. Then I have to wait till tomorrow for market to take out this high. And when it was done, I decided to pay attention. Mind you, there are things that I pay attention to. I traded this particular setup was because it was a market structure shift. That's why I only needed one structure to be broken for me to get my buy entry. But on this particular trade, which we are now, mind you, the market was previously on a downtrend, but now it has faced to the uptrend. So I'm paying out to double break of structures, or let's say multiple break of structures, but I'm okay with the double break of structure. Mind you, this was the last side that was broken. Guys, I can call that my BOS, which is the break of structure. If you pay attention closely, you will see that this high was taken out. This particular high was taken out. Even this particular high was taken out. That was the reason why I marked this last high. It was also taken out in general. So this so many highs that was taken out has given me the momentum that market buyers are strongly in the market. You get. Now back to my video. Now that this, remember what I told you before the structure can be taken out, or let's say last high can be taken out, it must close with a large body candle, or let's say a body candle. It must not be a wick. If it closes with a wick, I'm not gonna take it as my break of structure or my market structure shift, because it's not being taken out well. You get. So now, this was the candle that taked out this last high. So what's my inducement? The first pullback. Like I told you guys, the first pullback, that's what you mark as your inducement. The first pullback. Back to my 5 minutes, I was able to picture out my break of structure. Mind you, in picking my point of interest, I always pay attention to the point of interest closest to liquidity. Once it's been mitigated, it's no longer valid, and it must be the closest to liquidity. Do you understand? So now, what's the point of interest closest to liquidity? I make use of the breaker block and the other block. This example of an order block. I'm trying to find an example of an order block, but at the same time, this is a breaker block. I marked it from the candle because the wick is so long. The wick is already bigger than the body of the candle, so I'm marking it from the candle. That's what I picked as my point of interest, a 5 minutes breaker block. Now mind you, that's why I talked about being patient in trading. Mind you, this setup was being seen on a Thursday. Now market had to go up all the way. I have to wait till tomorrow morning for my setup to be triggered. Now remember what I told you guys, always use the last high as your target. Always use the last high as your target, or the nearest liquidity zone. Mind you, when the market was selling down to my entry, and there is a little thing that I also pay attention to. When, let's say, when market is approaching your entry, the sell pressure, or let's say if it's coming to your entry with a consolidation, or let's say a trend that is lower high, lower high, lower low, 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 triggered me. You see, now I pull my buy entry. This is how I get my setups so easy. You don't have to overcomplicate things. Now I put my take profit all the way to the next zone. Now mind you, this trade was 1:28. It's not always magic. When you approach the market and know why you are here, you intend to make a lot of money. For some of you, or let's say some of the beginners, it will be like, oh, I think here should be my take profit, because the last, mind you, that was not the last high that was being created, or that was being reached after the inducement was being produced. After the first pullback, the market went up to this high to be able to give you your target. So that was how I get my own bias. That after making profits from the last week trade, mind you, always don't pay so much attention to get this type of risk reward. Like, I don't usually have this type of risk reward. Like, my risk reward is not always 1:20, 1:20. Like on my previous video, you saw that my risk reward was just 1:7, and I'm okay with it. It doesn't have to be 1:20 or 1:30. It's depending on what you see on the market, or what the market has given to you. So that was how I was able to catch these buys. Break of structure, another structure broken, another break of structure to give you validation that there are a lot of buyers in the market. Another break of structure, even the main zone, the last main zone, another break of structure. So you can see that is 3 structures broken. So that gives me a solid reason why there are a lot of buyers in the market. So that was how I was able to catch this particular trade. If you didn't really understand this video, you can go back to my previous video, and I said how I picked my point of interest, breaker blocks, another block. I explained that very much well on my previous video. That was how I was able to catch this trade on Thursday. So So but now from my next videos I'll explain more in a key, let's say I'll break it down for beginners to be able to understand. So very clean trade. So the same thing goes here. Oh yeah, watch out. Let me just do another analysis here. The same thing applies to this place. After this structure was taken out, now what happened here? After the structure was taken out, mind you, there was a lot of wicks here. You get, so I can mark those wicks as my structure. So I use here as a break of structure, because that was the last high break of structure. Mind you, this was an order block. This is an example of an order block. Let's move to the 15 minutes. Do you see? That's why it's always good to adjust time frames before you pick your entry. That's why it's always good to adjust time frames before you pick your entry. Watch out. Break of structure. This was the first pullback inducement, and this is my my order block. This is right here. This is my order block. I literally mark from here. I put my stop loss here. I put my take profit here. You get, but this pullback was there for a reason. So I literally can't pull, or even if I decide to pull my entry at this point and pull my take profit at this range, that is 1:2 risk to reward. I even get 1:2 risk to reward as an SMC trader. I get 1:2 risk to reward, but because I'm no longer a beginner, I still have to go down to my 5 minutes time frame, because I was able to view or spot out an order block down below, even before this 5 minutes, before the 15 minutes order block. There was already a 5 minutes order block inside of it. So from the way I move, I already know that market might come to that zone. You get, because it's already inside of the 15 minutes breaker block, 15 minutes order block. So what do? I still go down to the 5 minutes time frame to put it there as my entry, as my POI. It's very good to exercise patience. Imagine getting to this point of your take profit and reverses all the way down to trigger another order block. You see, in order to continue the buys. Mind if I should go down here, I'll still mark out my break of structure. If I should go lower to 3 minutes time frame, I'll still mark out an inducement and use this other block for my buys to the next zone. So it's very easy. Just make sure you apply all the rules and you start understanding trading and make a lot of money in it.